that time again.
It's Kingslayer Hoops, and welcome to another NBA 2K21 tutorial. This right here is the one you guys have been asking me for a long time now. It is my universal lockdown defensive settings video. Universal meaning that this is what you want to start games with against most players online. It'll also work really well offline. But I do want to say that if you've watched other defensive settings videos on YouTube, this one is going to be pretty different. I'll get into why in a little bit, but I have a little bit of a different philosophy than a lot of these other guys. So we're going to jump right into that. But first of all, today's agenda, we're first going to go over the settings, and I'm going to get through that pretty quickly. Then I'm going to give my explanation along with some online gameplay so you guys can see that this actually works against real human opponents. Alright, so to start things off, in order to access your defensive settings, you want to hit the options button, you want to go down to game plan, and then you're going to go over to where it says defensive settings. And that's where you can find everything that I'm about to show you. Now guys, one of the things I care about on this channel is no nonsense tutorials, so I try not to give you guys more information than you need. And so I'm not going to go into extreme detail about all of the terminology here. And the reason is because 2K actually does that for you. You'll see here if you scroll over each setting in this menu, 2K gives you the pros and the cons of each one. Okay, so I'm not going to go over that today. You can do that on your own time. But let's go over the first few settings here. So on ball pressure, I'm going to keep that to moderate, and off ball is also going to be on moderate. Now most people instinctively want to put those on tight or smother, but I'm going to get into why I'm not doing that and why it's a bad idea to do that this year a little bit later. Force direction, we're going to go middle, and the primary reason for that is because scoring baseline is the absolute easiest way to score in 2K. It's been broken for a few years now, so I'm forcing guys middle. And on-ball screen, I'm going to go under. And the primary reason for that is that I want to force guys to make shots against me rather than drive to the basket. Like I said, I'll get into all that a little bit more in the explanation portion of this defensive settings tutorial. But let's move on to the next four settings. Hedge, I'm going to go no hedge. I do not want to hedge on screens whatsoever. I don't really touch on-ball screen center or hedge center. I'm not worried about that too much. And stay attached. Make sure that this is on no. If you're on yes, you're going to be in a world of trouble. Next few settings. Off-ball screens, again, I want to go under. Force guys to make shots, okay? Don't let guys drive. Double team post, I'm going to go manual. If I'm going to double team somebody, I want to control that. And then finally here, switch rules off ball. I'm going to switch guards. Definitely want to do that. Pre-rotate, we're not going to pre-rotate. And then screen help rules and drive help rules, I'm going to keep on help and no rotation. Okay, so those are the default settings. Now, if we're going to personalize these settings to the team that you're playing against, what you can do is hit L1 and R1, and that'll help you scroll to each individual player. So let's say, for example, you're going against Ben Simmons, and you want to sag off of Ben Simmons because you know he can't shoot. You can do that by pressing L1 and R1, and then you can adjust the individual player settings. But what I'm showing you here in this video is just the default settings that you're going to start every game with. And this will work against most players. The individual settings, you're going to have to kind of use your own basketball IQ for that because obviously I can't go over every player in the game in this video. And then finally, the last setting that I want to go over with you guys is if you go back to this game plan menu and then go over to coach settings, you want to make sure that adaptive coaching engine is off because otherwise the 2K CPU is going to change your settings from the ones that you set and make all kinds of crazy decisions. So let's make sure that that's off. Now guys, before we get into the online gameplay, I am going to ask you guys to please hit that like button and the subscribe button. I'm still a growing channel, so it would really help me out tremendously. It doesn't cost a dime, and I got a lot more tutorials for you guys coming in the future. Alright, so now we're going to have some online gameplay against human beings, and I just want to talk a little bit about my defensive philosophy here and why I chose the settings that I did. So first of all, as far as the going moderate against most players, and going under on screens and things like that. I know this is a pretty conservative approach, and like I said earlier, this is not what most 2K players are going to do. But my reason for this is because shooting this year is more difficult than it has been in past years. Now, did the devs make shooting easier than it was when the game was released? Yes, absolutely. But it's still not like if you're open, you're automatically greening threes, right? That's how it was last year. It's not like that anymore. you want to start the game assuming that the guys that you're playing against are better at driving than they are at knocking down shots. That's just how you have to go into games this year. So that's number one. Number two is that drawing fouls actually seems to be easier than ever for superstar players this year. And if you're not packing the paint and guys have to kind of like slide over and help, if you're playing really, really tight against an offensive player, fouls get called in those situations this year now more than probably I've ever seen before. So that's my second reason. And my third reason is that playing too tight actually makes it extremely easy for your opponent to just blow by you, especially if you have athletic guys like Damian Lillard or just really fast players, right? Like a Kemba Walker or John Morant or something like that. You just don't want to play too tight this year. I've gone on really long streaks online with these settings, so I just want to let you guys know that these do work as long as you, like I said, make the right individual adjustments and play smart defense. But guys, let's jump into the gameplay here. You can see I've taken a quick lead on my opponent, and
it is time.
Yeah, y'all know what time it is. We got to rage quit with these defensive settings. They work really well, and I got the receipts here for you guys. So that's our first quit game of the day. We got a few rage quits today. Now, last year in my defensive settings video, I used the Lakers, and you guys gave some pretty fair criticism. You were saying, oh, of course you're getting stops. You're using the best team in the game. So today I'm just mixing up the teams, right? This time I'm using the Thunder against the Lakers. So my opponent actually has the stronger team. And I'm just showing you how my defensive settings, along with good on-ball defense, makes a difference and will get you wins in this game. So we get off really quickly to a 10-point lead, and we got another rage quit. An early rage quit in the first quarter. So he didn't know how to deal with that defense. So let's move on here. This time I'm actually using the Denver Nuggets against the Philadelphia 76ers. The Nuggets are not a great defensive team. Great offensive team, but not great defensively in this game because Jokic and Millsap are both meh defenders. But again, we want to force guys to shoot like we did right there. They miss. That's got to be frustrating. We push the ball up the court. Easy bucket, and
it is time.
Yeah, Rafiki, you're right. It's time again. We keep getting rage quits with these defensive settings. I'm telling you guys, these settings are glorious. Now this time we are going to pick the Los Angeles Lakers. This is my team. And it's one thing seeing how well these settings work when you're just using an average defensive team or a meh defensive team. But this is an elite defensive team, and you can see right there just the CPU making good decisions, you know, forcing them to shoot, forcing them to make tough shots. This is what you want. If they're going to beat you with tough mid-range shots or contested three-point shots, that's fine. I'm willing to live with that. But I don't want to give up the easy drives. Look at that beautiful alley-oop to Anthony Davis. I'm predicting, of course, that the Lakers are going to win the finals this year. Let me know in the comments if you guys agree or disagree. It's not looking good for the Miami Heat right now in real life. But we get another alley-oop in transition. Too much fun. With fun in basketball games, we always talk about offense, but I have a lot of fun playing defense. Once you figure out the right settings, which I showed you guys here, and just develop your instincts in terms of on-ball defense. And look at that block by JaVale McGee. So guys, this was actually a close game, but we managed to hang on and get the victory. Shout out to my opponent who did not quit. A little disrespectful there. We hit the buzzer beater on them after we were already going to win, but whatever. I had fun. As you guys can see here in the box score, our opponent shot 41% total and only 33% from three. And like I said, you'll live with that. You'll live with these types of numbers. Guys, I'm going to ask one more time. If this video was helpful for you at all, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. I've got a lot more tutorials coming. Just videos that are going to make you a better 2K player. So hit that like button and that subscribe button. And until next time, happy gaming, y'all.